Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. This year I wanted to do something new. I wanted to do a wrap up of all the movies that I watched in 2025. Now, I get so many comments about how I read such beautiful books. They're exquisite. I have exquisite taste apparently, and I read very diversely, and I always have very interesting thoughts on what I read. And I wanted to show you that that does not translate to movies. That does not translate to movies at all. I watch anything anything and everything when it comes to movies. Doesn't matter how ridiculous it is, I will watch it. And I like to rewatch movies. I rewatch movies quite a bit. I probably rewatch movies more than I actually watch new movies, which is a kind of a bad habit. But yeah, because of that, I just thought it'd be a little something fun and different to tell you guys what I watched in the year 2025. And with me I have my Christmas tree that I wanted to show off. It's my Texas and Japan themed Christmas tree. I thought you guys would be really interested in this. Is that so all my Texas ornaments are from this one company that does these brass plated state themed ornaments. They do every single state, but obviously Texas is coolest, so those are the ones I go for, obviously. And also it's my home state. But then also I wanted Japan themed ones, and I thought you guys would get a kick out of these. These are actually bookmarks. It's like those really known like gold plated, or fake gold kind of plated bookmarks, and I just turned them into ornaments. So I thought that'd be really fun to share with you guys. And also just like around my travels. This is from Oichijiku, which is a tiny little town in the north of Japan. It's just sort of their like this cow kind of thing is just represents them. So I have these little treasures, and of course I have a few Santas. Oh, you can't see this guy. Can you see this guy? I have these little Santas here as well, and some tiny like snowman. So anyway, that's my Christmas tree, and I wanted to share with that because it's my pride and joy every single year. So anyway, let's get on to what I watched in the year of 2025. I started the year with Alien. Alien Romulus. I started the year with Alien Romulus. Then I watched The Count of Monte Cristo, and I watched Challengers. I actually watched all those on the same day because that was the day that I was flying home from the holidays. So that was the 7th of January. And usually when I do these big international flights, that's when I try and catch up on new movies. So Oscar-winning movies specifically, I try and catch up on those. But just anything that I was interested in watching or I missed out on watching, but I did want to see, I usually try and fit those onto the airplane. So I started off the year really strong with Alien Romulus, The Count of Monte Cristo, and Challengers. Then when I got home to Japan, I rewatched Miss Congeniality, Good Will Hunting, Jurassic Park, How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, and A Knight's Tale. So very exciting. These are movies I've seen like 80 million times. Good Will Hunting, I've seen so many times. I watch that many times a year. Jurassic Park, I watch that like 20 times a year. I love Jurassic Park. It's like my movie for when I'm cleaning. I'll just put it on in the background, or if I want to do something else, but I still want to like have a, I don't know, just a little something. I love Jurassic Park. Jurassic Park never ever gets old. Yeah, it always annoys me when it comes off Netflix, but as soon as it comes back, I always watch it. So I love Jurassic Park. So that was the month of January. The month of February was not a good month for me. So I only watched one movie, that's Julie and Julia. That's also sort of a comfort movie. It's a movie that I rewatch quite often, more so for Meryl Streep's parts, because Meryl Streep is fantastic, and I love the parts where she plays Julia. I think it's really quite fantastic. The month of March was still a continuation of comfort movies. So I watched Scream, Scream 2, and Scream 3. The Scream series, the Scream franchise is a franchise I rewatch a lot. This is the first time I've watched Scream 3 in a long time. I really don't like Scream 3. I think it's a really bad movie. I've actually never seen Scream 4, and that one is never on Netflix. I don't understand why, and I never saw it in theaters, so I still have no idea about that movie. So when 5, 6, and 7 came out, it was a little confusing because I was like, I don't know who this one person is. Like Hayden Panettiere's character, when she showed up in the later movie as an FBI agent. I didn't know who she was, but apparently she was in Scream 4. But Scream 4, for some reason, that's never around. And so I've never seen that particular movie. But yeah, those movies, like, I've rewatched them. Here I registered them as having watched them, but I rewatched those movies over and over again throughout the year. Doesn't matter what time of year it is. I always rewatch those. Except for Scream 3. Like, I really dislike Scream 3. But I just wanted to remember what that movie was about and give it another chance. But it just strengthened the idea that I really just don't like that movie. Continuing with the comfort reads, I rewatched Notting Hill. That's also a movie I rewatch quite often. I think that's kind of Hugh Grant and his humor at his best. Then I rewatched The Net. The Net came out on Netflix, and I immediately watched that because I loved that movie as a kid. Sandra Bullock was my idol. I also wanted to be a hacker. I wanted to be like a professional computer person when I watched her in that movie. I thought it was so cool. So I had to rewatch that when it came out on Netflix. Then I finished the month of February with a new movie to me. I watched Anaconda's The Hunt for the Blood Orchid because I'm going to reveal to you a little secret. I love watching these kind of stupid movies where like animals kill things. My favorite genre is killer sharks. I will watch every single killer shark movie. I've seen all the Jaws movies, all the Deep Blue Sea movies, the Meg movies. Killer sharks is a continuous theme in my watching repertoire. It's just, I always, when I don't know what to put on and I just want something light and frivolous that I don't really have to pay attention to, it's like Jurassic Park or killer shark movie. I don't know. It's, yeah. So Anaconda's sort of same idea, killer, really, dangerous killer anaconda in the Amazon River. The characters are ridiculous. Maybe everyone's stupid. They all deserve to die. But I guess that's what gives you a little bit of satisfaction. So the month of April, I only watched one movie. I watched the Mickey 17, the new movie with Robert Pattinson. That movie was interesting. It had really good ideas. The execution got a little strange at some points, but the ideas were interesting. It was fun. And I enjoyed it as a whole. It's not like a favorite or anything. It's not something I'll rewatch over and over and again, but it was worth watching at least once. In the month of May, I watched Taken, and then I watched Don't Move. Basically just your standard thriller kind of movies. Taken had just come out on Netflix, and I hadn't seen it since it came out. And I remember that one being a good one, and it was still good. It was still fun. Like all the the action scenes were really good. Don't Move, standard, woman gets attacked and has to survive against all odds. Those are always fun to watch. The month of July, I watched 3 movies on the same day. July 19th, once again, that was an airplane day. That was me heading to France. So I watched Eugénie Grandet because I had just read the book, so I wanted to watch the movie. The movie ending is very different from the book ending. The movie ending added a positive twist that the book doesn't have, and I did think that was quite unfortunate. As a whole, the movie's pretty boring because there isn't really much that goes on in that movie. So it's kind of there's not much that goes on in the book. It's very much a study on societal obligations at the time, and it's like a character study of this girl and her father, and so there's just not really, it just all takes place in one place, so there's not really enough to pull from to really create a movie to create a movie, and then to add the positive twist was just kind of unfortunate. But I watched Eugénie Grandet. After that, I watched Cyrano, My Love, Cyrano, Mon Amour, which is the movie version of the very successful play, which I really, really enjoyed. The play was fantastic. The movie is equally very good. Cyrano, Mon Amour, Cyrano, My Love is basically the story of the creator of the writer who created Cyrano de Bergerac, the most famous French play, Cyrano de Bergerac. So the movie is about Edmond Rostand, the person who wrote that play, and how he came inspired, and how his inspiration came from his daily life and whatnot. And it worked as a movie as much as it worked as a play, and I thought it was really great to watch both. They're equally very good. Then on the plane, I rewatched Dune just because it's a good movie. After that, while I was in France, I watched 2 movies on TV, or actually I watched a few movies on TV because France during the summer, every day, they pretty much show a movie. Usually it's movies from the 1950s, or it's at least movies pre-1990. But I was surprised they showed Gran Torino. Gran Torino, I think is an excellent movie. People will disagree with me, but I actually think it's a really great movie at portraying these particular kind of very racist people, and I thought Clint Eastwood did a remarkable job in that movie. It was interesting to watch it in French dub, because obviously, as well, again, French movies out on TV, they always give the French dub. So it's actually funny where I grew up watching Clint Eastwood Western movies, and for the longest time, I only knew his voice in French. I didn't know his voice in English. So it was actually kind of fun to go back to his French voice. But yeah, Gran Torino. And then Gran Torino works quite well in France because France is very good at cussing, and there's a lot of cussing in Gran Torino, but it actually translates quite well. So I rewatched Gran Torino on TV. Then I watched The Adventures of Priscilla, Queen of the Desert, the famous movies about the drag queens in Australia. I counted this movie as new because I feel like I've actually seen this when I was very, very young, probably when it first came out, because that was 1994. But I remember it so little, or if I did even watch it, I probably just watched like snippets of it. I doubt that I stayed the entire time. So I counted the movie as a new movie for me. But it was okay. It's what I didn't enjoy it that much, to be honest. I thought it was a little bit too over the... It's not that it was too over the top, because it's supposed to be over the top, but there was just something that just didn't click for me. My vacation continued in the month of August. I was still in France, so I ended up watching OSS 117, Cairo, The Nest of Spies. OSS is a series of movies. It's like James Bond, but comedy, like a parody. Like the Bond character is not actually a really good spy. He's actually quite bad at being a spy, but somehow he's still able to make it through his missions. This particular movie I had really wanted to see because there was a clip of one of the famous scenes on YouTube that I watched, and I cracked up. I shared it with my brother, I shared it with my mom. I couldn't stop laughing about it, and so I really wanted to see the movie itself. It's the scene for my viewers who are French. It's the scene where he asks the female bombshell, like, teach me Arabic, and she starts off with da 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 da, and he's like, what is that? And she goes 1 2 3 4 5. And he goes, that doesn't help at all, unless I have to count to 5, and then it'll help me quite a bit. And I cracked up so hard at that because it's so stupid, but I love that scene so much, and I had to watch the movie, and it actually still remains the best scene of the movie. But just for that scene alone, it's worth watching the movie. I just really love that the stupidity of that 1 2 3 4 5 scene. I thought it was just fantastic. It's just the execution of how, like, both actors, the execution of how they put out those lines. I just absolutely love that scene. Okay, so the next movie that I watched on French TV was Le Sang à la tête, which is Blood to the Head. This is more typical of French summer TV. It's a movie from 1956. They love showing movies from the 1950s and movies from the 1960s. Like, the older the better, because they don't have to pay anything. It's like free basically at that point. This is a movie new to me. It was like, I'm totally fine with watching old movies, but this one didn't really click for me. I think I also was kind of tired that day. But yeah. On the plane back home from my vacation, I watched the second Dune movie, part 2. I watched also The Favorite, with Rachel Weisz and Emma Stone, and the really good woman who played the queen. That was an excellent movie. That was a really good movie. Back in Japan, I finished the month off in August with Dead Poets Society, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Beetlejuice, and then I went to the movies to see the newest Jurassic World Rebirth, because as I mentioned, Jurassic Park, I love that. Animals that kill people, watch those all the time. Like, it's not a good movie, but it's just fun. It's like stupid fun. It's dinosaurs killing things. Like, what can go wrong? I mean, everything goes wrong, but what could go wrong at the same time? The only thing about Jurassic World Rebirth was that, like, the main dinosaur looked too much like the creature from Resident Evil, that it was just kind of weird. It was like, the design was just, it was too over the top. It was too much. So then I watched the Escape Room, Hachiban Deguchi, which is a Japanese movie based off of the video game, and I thought that was actually really well done. I had fun with that one in theaters. And then I finished off the month with He's All That, a rewatch of He's All That, which is the sequel of She's All That. I typically watch the sequels of the old 90s movies that I grew up on. They're never really good, but it's just like, you know, good nostalgia. So I usually always watch those. All right, the month of September, I actually made a mistake. I said I watched Exit 8 in the month of August. I watched Escape Room, which is a new movie, in the month of August. And I watched Exit 8, the Japanese movie, in September. So September, I watched Ready Player One, terrible movie. I watched Exit 8, Hachiban Niguchi. I watched Friday Night at Freddy's. I think you can get an idea that I was getting ready for... No, it's still a little early, but Friday Night at Freddy's, I was thinking, okay, we're hitting autumn. I need to start watching a few darker movies. Then The Negotiator came out on Netflix, and that's a movie I loved from back in the 90s, so I had to watch that. Then La Bamba came out, had to watch that, because whenever La Bamba comes out, you have to watch that movie. Love that movie. Then I rewatched The Negotiator like a few days later because it's just such a good movie. And then I can tell you, I watched that movie maybe like another 6 more times. I just didn't register, or I didn't log in those rewatches. But a lot of these movies, like, there are a lot of movies I didn't log. All the Final Destination movies, I rewatched those 3 or 4 times over the year. Negotiator, I've seen like 8 times this year. The Scream movies, I've seen them 80 million times this year. It's just, they're just like cleaning movies, right? And I didn't log them every single time because that'd be just a waste. But I did watch The Negotiator many times. But it was at this point in September, it was worth logging in twice apparently. So then I watched the Client, which I had never seen. It was okay. And then I decided to go through the Men in Black movies because I realized I'd only seen the first one. So I rewatched the first Men in Black movie, and then I watched for the first time the second and the third movie, and it's actually a really good trilogy. I was quite surprised. I liked how Men in Black 3 wrapped around and sort of like tied in a bunch of things together, and I thought that was really, really well done. Then I rewatched the movie Signs because everyone says how good that movie is, and I didn't remember it being very good when I watched it, so then I decided to rewatch it. I'm like, no, it actually really is a terrible movie. And then I watched Urban Legend because we're entering in the month of October. It's time to, you know, start watching those darker movies, sinister movies, like creepy movies, things like that. In the month of October itself, I watched The Equalizer, the first movie. I've actually already seen The Equalizer 2, but I didn't realize it was the 2. So I watched the first one, which was really, really fun. I really enjoyed it. Then in theaters with a friend, I went to go see Chainsaw Man, which was excellent. Chainsaw Man was so, so good. The action scenes in that movie were excellent. I was very, very surprised. Then on the 13th, I watched Final Destination. Because my friend came over, we baked a chocolate cake, and then I wanted to introduce her to the Final Destination series, so we watched the first one together. And then I was telling her about the logging scene in the second movie, so we watched just the beginning, the accident at the second movie, and she's like, after watching it, she's like, oh, I can understand why in America no one drives behind log trucks now. And I'm like, exactly. So that was really fun to introduce her to that. On my own, I ended up watching The Woman in Cabin 10. I rewatched The Equalizer 2. I haven't seen Equalizer 3 yet. I will watch it. It's on my list. I rewatched Interview with a Vampire, and I rewatched the 2018 Halloween. And then I finished the month of October with Jawbreaker, which is a movie that surprisingly I had never seen, even though it's very famous 90s movie. In the month of November, I had the idea in October that I wanted to watch the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original one, which I have actually never seen. And so I finally, even though I didn't manage that in October, I did manage it on the 1st of November. I watched the 1974 The Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I was actually surprised that I didn't like it that much. I think it would have done more if I had seen it back when I was younger. I think it would have been a lot scarier then. But for some reason, it didn't. There's a little something missing. There's a connection missing. I'm happy to have seen it because at least I definitely know the lore, but it just didn't do anything for me. Then I rewatched The Craft because that came up on Netflix, and I always watch The Craft when it comes back. That's a really good nostalgic 90s movie. Because I watched the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I decided to rewatch the following Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the 2022 version, which isn't that good, but it's a bunch of people getting killed, so it's always fun. Then because I rewatched The Craft, I decided to rewatch The Craft Legacy, which isn't actually as bad as I thought it would be. David Duchovny was horrible in that movie, but I thought the girls were actually quite good. I thought they had a good connection in that group, so didn't mind rewatching that. Then for the first time I watched Bewitched. That's a movie it's weird, like Nicole Kidman, I wasn't sure if I liked her or disliked her because there are movies of her that I really liked, but then Moulin Rouge was such a terrible movie for me that I stopped watching it after like 20 minutes or so. Like as soon as like there was that piece where I think it's just like hanging on a chandelier and she keeps going ooh ooh ooh, like just making those really high piercing noises to a really weird remix of Nirvana, I was just like, this is not a movie for me. I really hated that movie. And I've discovered since then I just really don't like the director either. There's another movie by him that I didn't like, and then when I looked up the director I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. So because of that movie, I thought I didn't like Nicole Kidman, but I actually do like her. And so I wanted to watch Bewitched because also I grew up watching the Bewitched TV series. I loved Bewitched. It was such a good show. And she was fantastic. But I really dislike Will Ferrell I actually quite dislike. And I really wish the Bewitched movie was not what they made out of, because Nicole Kidman was great. I think her character was wasted because of Will Ferrell, who's just so over the top and obnoxious. I just can't stand. I can't stand him. But she was fantastic. Then I finished the month of November with Deep Blue Sea. I can promise you I've seen Deep Blue Sea many times this year. This is not the first time that I watch it. I just logged it. But again, killer shark movie. By this month of November, I'd already re-seen The Meg like 3 times, The Meg 2 3 times. I rewatched Jaws. Also, I tend to watch a lot of like disaster movies. So whenever there's a disaster movie on Netflix, I always watch it. So Geostorm, I've rewatched that like 6 times this year. So a lot of these movies aren't logged in. Because I just watched them too many times. And then the month of December, I had 5 new movies to me in a row. Because I watched Deep Blue Sea, I decided to watch Under Paris sous la Seine, which is about a killer shark in the Seine River in Paris. So that was really fun. Really hated the blue-haired girl, which was the whole point. But I was just like, so glad she died. December 14th, I watched, because it's Christmas season, right? I watched Christmas with the Cranks, and then I watched My Secret Santa. I always bring in a few Christmas movies at the end of the year, because that's what you're supposed to do, right? And then I watched The Blackening for the first time. The Blackening seemed like it'd be a really good movie. It was almost there. I think I don't know what it needed, but it needed I think it needed a slightly different execution, or maybe a more polished script, or maybe less polished script, because it felt too much like a script. Maybe the dialogue might have needed to sound a little bit more natural. I couldn't really tell, but it was a really good idea, and it had a really good moments, but as a whole, it didn't hit as hard as I wanted it to hit. And then I finished with Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. Now this, you'll notice, oh no, you won't notice because I don't have the, do I have the date? No, I have the dates. You can see the dates. But that's December 20th, and there's still, what, a week and a half, 2 weeks, like a week and a half left in December. There's a chance I watch a few more movies before the end of the month, but I do leave on vacation like in 2 days, and I'll be traveling the entire time. And the flights I'm taking, the longer flights are overnight flights, so I'll be sleeping on those. And then the shorter flights are not flights that have movies on them. And then the rest of the time, I'll be too busy, you know, doing tourist stuff and then planning what's going on the next day and whatnot. So I won't have time to watch any movies before the end of the year. I do need, well, I was thinking about at least tonight, I wanted to watch the last Harry Potter film because I've seen all of them but part 2 of the very last film, of the very last movie. So I thought I would get that in before the end of the year. So that's probably going to be on the list. But I just needed to film this today to get this video out. So yeah, but that's everything I watched in the year 2025. That ends up to be, in terms of what's logged, that ends up to be 65 movies. I can tell you the count is higher than that. It's definitely at least 80 with all the rewatches I've done in movies. But again, there's no point in counting those. In terms of new to me movies, I watched 31 brand new movies to me, which is actually quite good. That's almost half of what I watched in the year. I think there was one year where I only watched like 10% new movies. So it's good for me that I actually make an effort to watch new movies because there are a lot of movies I want to watch. And then in terms of by decade, I watched one movie from the 1950s, one movie from the 1970s, 2 movies from the 1980s. I'm kind of running out of movies from the 1980s to watch. I feel like it feels like I've pretty much seen all of them, so it's hard to get more in, but I am trying. 1990s, I watched 17 movies. I'm definitely trying to catch up on a lot of the 90s movies that I missed out growing up. Usually these are like the thriller type movies, but those are always fun. I think 90s thriller movies are really good because I think the fact that they are older and the images are quite gritty, I think the grittiness actually adds to the thriller factor, and it just makes it more fun to watch than maybe 2000 thriller movies. But yeah, 17 movies from the 1990s, 16 movies from the 2000s, 8 movies from the 2010s, and then 20 movies from the 2020s. So I am doing quite good, I think, about catching up on new movies. I'm definitely better about watching contemporary movies than I am about reading contemporary books. When it comes to books, I tend to read older. And then out of the 2020s, I ended up watching 6 new movies that came out in 2025. Not the best, but not the worst. The thing about watching movies that came out in the current year is that being in Japan, I will watch a trailer about a movie coming out in the US, right? And I'll get excited about the movie. But unless it's like a Star Wars type movie or just one of those like huge franchise movies, there's going to be a delay, right, between when the movie comes out in the US and when the movie comes out in Japan, because they need to translate and then they need to see how well the movie is doing to see if they actually want to translate, etc., etc. And by the time it comes out in Japan, I've kind of already forgotten about it. So I missed out on quite a few movies like that. So I don't know. I'm so happy that I watched 6 movies, especially since 2 movies are Japanese. I don't really watch that many Japanese movies despite living here. But yeah, it's maybe I can like make more of an effort in 2026. We'll see. Do I have a new favorite movie of the 2025? Not so much. I don't know if I really do favorites as much these days. I really liked Cyrano, My Love. I thought The Favorite was really good. The Count of Monte Cristo was really fun. That one was really quite good about following the book. And there are a lot of movies I'm happy to have seen and re-seen. I was really happy with the Men in Black trilogy. I actually thought every movie was equally very, very good. And that's the thing, like movies, for me, movies they're a source of escape. They're for fun. It's entertainment. I typically don't try to think too much when I watch movies. I don't try to look for plot holes. I don't try and do character analyses or anything like that. I just want to watch a movie and have fun. So I think I did a good job in 2025, and we'll see if I can get through more of my queue in 2026. So anyway, I really hope you guys enjoyed this video from me. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!